You've suffered enough. Now it's time to become unstoppable. Let me speak to the part of you that is tired. Not physically tired, soul tired. The part of you that has endured disappointment in silence. The part of you that has smiled in public and wrestled with doubt in private. The part of you that has worked hard, tried hard, believed hard, and still felt left behind. You have suffered enough. Enough second-guessing. Enough setbacks. Enough watching others move ahead while you question your own direction. Now it is time to become unstoppable. Not lucky. Not temporarily motivated. Unstoppable. There comes a moment in every person's life when pain must either break you or build you. You're standing at that moment. You can allow suffering to shrink your ambition, or you can allow it to forge you into something unrecognizable to your former self. Understand this clearly. Your suffering was not proof of weakness. It was preparation. Steel is not formed in comfort. Character is not built in ease. Strength is not born in applause. It is forged in resistance. Every disappointment you endured, every rejection you faced, every closed door, every financial pressure, every sleepless night, they were not punishments. They were training. The question is not whether you suffered. The question is what you will now decide to become. Most people carry their pain like an anchor. You must learn to carry yours like fuel. Fuel for discipline. Fuel for focus. Fuel for purpose. The average person says, "Why is this happening to me?" The unstoppable person says, "What is this preparing me for?" That shift changes everything. Right now, you may feel behind, but you're not behind. You're being built. There is a law that governs achievement. What you hold in your mind with emotional intensity, you move toward. If you hold resentment, you move toward bitterness. If you hold fear, you move toward hesitation. But if you hold a definite purpose with faith, you move toward power. You must decide what will occupy your mind. You cannot afford careless thinking. Small thoughts create small lives. Powerful thoughts create powerful destinies. Let's speak honestly. Some of your suffering came from external circumstances, but some of it came from internal hesitation. You doubted yourself. You postponed action. You allowed fear to speak louder than vision. And that is not condemnation. It is clarity, because once you see it clearly, you can change it deliberately. You do not need a new life. You need a new mindset. You need definiteness of purpose. Definiteness of purpose means you choose your destination without apology. Not vaguely. Not someday. Decide. What do you want? Financial freedom? Leadership? A thriving business? Security for your family? Influence? Independence? Write it down. Be specific. Clarity concentrates power. A scattered desire produces scattered results. An exact decision activates your full mental capacity. When your purpose becomes clear, discipline becomes easier, because now you know why you are sacrificing comfort. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like investment. Here is a mental exercise. Tonight, sit alone with pen and paper. Write a clear statement beginning with these words. I am determined to become. Complete that sentence in detail. Describe the income you will earn, the person you will become, the habits you will embody, the contribution you will make. Then read it aloud, morning and night, with emotion. Your subconscious mind responds to repetition and feeling. Feed it conviction. You have allowed doubt to repeat itself long enough. Now repeat belief. You may say, I have failed before. Yes, and that is why you are stronger now. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the teacher of success. Every major American industry was built by men and women who failed repeatedly before they succeeded. They did not interpret failure as final. They interpreted it as feedback. You must do the same. If a door closes, analyze. If a plan fails, refine. If progress slows, adjust. but do not retreat. Retreat is the language of small thinking. Persistence is the language of the unstoppable. There is power in persistence that most people underestimate. Not loud persistence, not dramatic persistence, quiet, consistent, daily persistence. The kind that wakes up early, the kind that studies when others scroll, the kind that invests when others spend, the kind that keeps promises when excuses feel easier. Discipline is self-respect in action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your identity. Every time you break one, you weaken it. Start small. For the next 30 days, choose one discipline. Exercise daily. Save a fixed amount. Read 20 pages. Practice a skill. Wake up 1 hour earlier. No exceptions. You are not building a habit. You are building evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. And when self-trust grows, self-belief becomes unshakable. Let me tell you a story. A young man grew up in modest circumstances. He watched others succeed and quietly wondered if success belonged only to the fortunate. He tried business once. It failed. He tried again. It struggled. He faced criticism, doubt, financial strain. There were nights when quitting felt logical, but something within him refused to accept limitation. He studied relentlessly. He surrounded himself with thinkers who aimed higher. He rewired his self-image. Instead of saying, "I hope this works," he began saying, "I will find a way." Years later, his success appeared impressive. But what truly changed his life was not opportunity. It was identity. He stopped seeing himself as someone who hoped to succeed. He saw himself as someone who would. That shift made him unstoppable. You must alter your identity. If you see yourself as unlucky, you will unconsciously act cautiously. If you see yourself as capable, you will act decisively. Ask yourself, who must I become to achieve my goal? Stronger, more disciplined, more focused, more patient. Then begin becoming that person now. Do not wait for external proof. Act as if. Speak as if. Think as if. The mind adapts to the role you repeatedly play. There will be obstacles. Expect them. Anticipate resistance. Anything of value demands endurance. But here is what you must understand. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure. Temporary defeat is a test of desire. When challenges arise, they ask one question: how badly do you want this? If your desire is weak, you will withdraw. If your desire is strong, you will intensify. Strengthen your desire daily. Visualize your future in detail. See your home. See your office. See your family secure. See yourself confident. Emotionally connect to that vision. Emotion is the ignition switch of achievement. A goal without emotional intensity fades. A goal infused with passion persists. Guard your environment. Negativity spreads quickly. If you consistently expose yourself to pessimism, your ambition will shrink. Seek out voices of courage. Read biographies of achievers. Study principles of wealth creation. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow. Environment shapes expectation. Expectation shapes action. Action shapes outcome. You have tolerated enough mediocrity, enough compromise, enough quiet frustration. You were not created to live cautiously within the boundaries of fear. You were created with imagination. And imagination is creative power. Everything that exists in the modern world began as a thought. A thought held long enough and strong enough becomes reality. But you must hold it, not casually, with conviction. Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is disciplined belief backed by consistent action. You do not sit and hope. You act and believe. You prepare and trust. You persist and expect. When setbacks occur, speak differently to yourself. Instead of, "This always happens to me," say, "This is refining me." Instead of, "I cannot handle this," say, "This is strengthening me." Words shape belief. Belief shapes endurance. Endurance shapes destiny. Here is another exercise. Each night before sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. Did I act today in alignment with my purpose? Where did I allow fear to limit me? What will I improve tomorrow? This reflection builds awareness. Awareness builds control. Control builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum makes you unstoppable. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Comparison drains power. Focus intensifies power. Your race is not against others. It is against your former self. Become better than yesterday. Stronger than last week. More disciplined than last month. Improvement compounds. Small improvements daily create extraordinary results over time. Do not underestimate consistency. Many people want dramatic change. Few commit to daily discipline. Be among the few. If you want financial growth, increase your value. Learn new skills. Refine communication. Master problem solving. The marketplace rewards value, not desire. If you want influence, cultivate integrity. If you want freedom, practice responsibility. Freedom without discipline leads to chaos. Freedom with discipline leads to greatness. You must take ownership. Blame is heavy. Ownership is empowering. When you accept full responsibility for your direction, excuses lose their authority. No more blaming the economy. No more blaming circumstances. No more blaming the past. You are responsible for your response, and your response determines your rise. You have suffered enough. Enough waiting for permission. Enough doubting your worth. Enough shrinking your voice. Now it is time to rise internally. Stand up in your mind. Declare that mediocrity no longer fits you. Declare that hesitation no longer controls you. Declare that your future will not resemble your past. But declarations alone are not enough. Back them with structure. Structure your day. Structure your finances. Structure your learning. Structure your goals. Unstructured ambition fades. Structured ambition produces results. Wake with intention. Work with focus. Rest with reflection. Repeat. This rhythm builds power. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Continue. There will be days when doubt whispers loudly. Continue. There will be days when quitting appears reasonable. Continue. Because every time you continue, you separate yourself from the majority. And success belongs to those who endure. Picture yourself 5 years from now. 2 versions stand before you. One continued making excuses. One committed to growth. Which one do you want to meet? The future is shaped by the discipline of today. Do not underestimate this moment. It may feel ordinary, but decisions made in ordinary moments create extraordinary futures. You're not meant to crawl through life cautiously hoping not to fail. You're meant to move forward boldly determined to grow. Courage is not absence of fear. It is movement despite fear. You do not eliminate fear by waiting. You eliminate fear by acting. Each courageous action weakens fear's grip. Each bold decision strengthens identity. Identity determines destiny. Say to yourself, I am becoming unstoppable, not because circumstances are easy, but because your commitment is firm. You have endured pain. Now, transform it into power. You have faced rejection. Now, convert it into resilience. You have experienced delay. Now, turn it into preparation. Nothing is wasted when you extract the lesson. Nothing is lost when you retain the growth. Your suffering does not define you. Your response defines you. Stand taller. Think bigger. Act bolder. Believe deeper. Persist longer. The American dream is not reserved for the fortunate. It is earned by the disciplined. It is claimed by the persistent. It is secured by the unwavering. Your background does not disqualify you. Your doubt does. Remove doubt. Replace it with decision. Replace it with action. Replace it with faith. This is your turning point. Not because circumstances changed, but because you changed. And when you change internally, the world responds externally. Commit today.